Morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll call the Highway and Buildings Committee meeting for Thursday, July 12th to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. McConnell.
Present.
Mr. Tripp.
Present.
Mr. Legess.
Aye.
Mr. Vickery.
Aye.
Mr. Olthoff. Ms. Polk. Mr. Mulcahy.
Yes. Present.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Present.
Mr. Einfeld. Ms. Weber.
Present.
Ms. Evans. Ms. Peters. Ms. Parker.
Present.
Mr. Ritter. Mr. Kinzinger. Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Lear.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Have a quorum. Okay. Mr. Rogers.
No public comment.
Whoa, no, any public comments? I didn't see anybody back there except Wes. Okay. Approval of minutes. You've had a chance to look at the minutes. We need a motion to accept and a motion to our second. Any comments?
Who was for it?
Mr. Tripp and Mr. Olthoff. Take your pick. Any comments or additions, corrections, deletions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, Mr. Rogers.
Okay, first is we have no bidding and letting, but we do have bills to pay this morning. The first one is for our county general maintenance for 2018 supplement 2. This is payable to Grasso Construction Company. This is for oil and chip work that's been going on in the county, and that amount is $146,212.74. Next is for our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Prairie Material Sales. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry. That amount is $11,280.69. Next is our county general maintenance for 2018, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for chips and road mix picked up at the quarry with our trucks, and that amount is $4,804.44. Next is Bourbonnais Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $20,264.30. Next is Janier Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, supplement 1, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $16,003.03. Next is Mantino Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company. This is for oil and chip work done in the township. That amount is $188,330.27. Next is Rockville Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $32,859.26. Next is Sumner Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Grasso Construction Company. This is for oil and chip work done in the township, and that amount is $49,460.67. Next is Pilot Road District, section 18-12-108-01-AS, payable to Hammond Wagner Excavation. This is for pulverization and aggregate base repair, and that amount is $60,015.15. Next is Otto Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Hammond Wagner Excavating, and this is for aggregate base repair and pulverization, and that amount is $45,525.46. Next is Yellowhead Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, payable to Hammond Wagner, and that is for pulverization and aggregate base repair, and that amount is $84,199.93. Next is a final pay estimate for Norton Road District, section 18-09136-01-AS, payable to Toby's Construction and Cartage, and that amount is $102,616.43. And last is Auto Road District for their 2018 general maintenance, supplement 2, payable to Vulcan Materials. This is for road mix picked up at the quarry with their trucks, and that amount is $186.68.
Okay, we need a motion to accept as presented. Mr. Vickery, any comments, questions, additions, subtractions for Mr. Rogers?
Second.
Well, no second. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wondered, after all this work is done, does your office have an obligation to go check it out
We inspect them as they're doing the work.
as they're doing it?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion, need a second, then we'll have roll call. Second? Ms. Polk, okay. Roll call.
Mr. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Tripp?
Aye.
Mr. Legess? Mr. Vickery? Mr. Olchov? Ms. Polk? Mr. Mulcahy? Mr. Hildebrand?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Ms. Parker? Mr. Kinzinger? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carried.
Mark?
All right, I have no resolutions this morning, but I do want to give an update on the fuel station. We are having a underground tank inspection next Tuesday. The EPA and the fire marshal will be here. We have to have the fuel tanks empty. So it looked like we were going to have fuel through Saturday, but it seems there's been a mad rush of people filling up at the fuel station. We usually have between 220 and 240 gallons of regular unleaded per day. Yesterday was 425, and I think the day before was in the 300. So we're probably going to run out of fuel this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I did notify all the department heads of that. We're hoping that we don't run into any incidents with this inspection, but we'll be ordering fuel hopefully on Tuesday night and try to get everything filled up on Wednesday and open at least by Thursday. While we're doing this, there were some security protocols that we wanted to address. So we are changing everybody's code for the fuel station. We are, that doesn't affect the keys, but I've gone through and randomly selected numbers for, I think there's about 300 codes that we have to all the departments and agencies. But hopefully this thing will go off without a hitch and we'll be open and running by next week sometime.
Mr. Olthoff?
Thank you, Chairman. Was there a problem? Never mind.
Jack, me explain?
Sure.
By the way, is our cameras in
Yes.
in play too? Okay.
Yes.
What happened was with the situation that with the allegations made against the Limestone Township road commissioner with fuel pumps and things out there, there was a FOIA submitted to the state's attorney. In the meantime, I had been in communications, and Anita, our administrator, had been in communications with State's Attorney Rowe about the security measures we have, because he was asking to make sure that we had everything buttoned up, and we did. But we put those security measures down in the email to the state's attorney, and then the Daily Journal printed those in the newspaper, which caused us to have to change everything we do. It was completely and totally irresponsible by the Journal. And how much do you think, if you're talking man hours and equipment and everything, I'm not gonna put you on $5 grand, maybe more. I mean, we'd have to total it up, because you think about it, all new codes for everybody, the security for the cameras, ridiculous in my. No, they printed how many digits the codes were and what the limitations are of our camera systems, and yeah. So I just thought I'd mention that there was probably one of the more irresponsible things I've seen a journalist do. So, and it really cost us.
That's it. Wow. Any other comments for questions for Mr. Rogers? Anything? Okay, thanks, Mark.
All right.
Mr.
Thank you.
Andrews? No.
What's the 2 more copies of the report?
Mm-hmm. I had some extras here somewhere. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, morning, everyone.
Facility dude report for the month of June. We're looking at 161 work orders versus 165 from the previous month. So that's, you know, obviously pretty typical. Financial report, you'll see that in front of you. Find my copy here. Again, we typically run about $15,000 a month. You'll see we're about $3,500 over that. Couple reasons why. You'll see under the annex, building and equipment, 1184 of that 1700 was for new fan motors and blades, 2 of them for the condenser unit that sits on the would be the east side of that facility. Those locked up and went down. Those are for 2 new motors and blades there. The 2,000 expense at the morgue, that was for a cooler that went down on a Saturday. Had to call in Precision, had to completely replace the starting components of the condenser unit for the cooler. So that was about $2,000 there. And then over at the old jail, you'll see $5,800 worth of expenses under building and equipment. Most of that was for Western Detention, $2,200 for cell motors. When those the cells open and close, there's motors that are utilized, and those were burned up as well. We have 3 of them that were burned up. They're about $2,000 a piece to replace those. So that's the gist of it. If there's any questions on this, obviously I'm happy to take them. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The cell motors that burn, is that due to age or a spike or?
Age, yes, they're very old. Anything else on that?
Mr. Vickery?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question about that elevator. I'm unclear as to how that came out, when they had to drill it or do something.
Yeah, it's coming. I've got that in my building report, and I'll go ahead and jump to that now, if that's okay with you, or should I?
No, go ahead and answer.
The elevator at the old jail, I was in communication with Kone last week, and they had told me it'd be about 3 weeks. They called me yesterday to let me know that the drilling company is actually going to start on Monday. So we set up a meeting for 3:30 today with the corrections staff and myself, and then my staff member at that building to basically put together a game plan for Monday when they come out to start. So that's where we're at on that. Good. All right, we'll go into a building report. At last month's meeting, I think, Mr. Tripp, you'd asked me about some expenses with Precision. Through May, we've spent $24,660 with Precision. I'm cognizant of the fact that they do a good portion of work here. I'll continue to utilize them and others as necessary. I've continued to use them. I feel very comfortable with the pricing that we've had, and as necessary, I'll continue to get bids and make sure their prices are fair, if you will. So, building report at 189, air handler 4 that serves the recorder's office went down a couple weeks ago. Happened to be over the July 4th holiday. We had some issues there getting them back up and running. We'd initially tried, it was another motor issue that was locked up. We had it replaced with maintenance staff, put it in there. Didn't work as it should. Had to call out a subcontractor to make some more repairs, address some freon leaks. Everything back up and running, and that one's cooling as it should at this time. Air handler 14, which serves the 6th floor here, the compressor shot. I have a bid on that to replace it. It's going to run about $4,500 to replace the compressor for air handler 14. Not as much of an issue there. We've got 2 air handlers on that floor that service it. Right now we've got one keeping up. The other one only cools to about 62 degrees. So it's something that's going to need to get addressed here soon, and that's probably looking next week. I'm going to give the go ahead on that to get that one repaired, or replaced rather.
That 62 degrees is discharge air, not room temperature.
Yeah, sorry, discharge air.
Clarify that.
Should be in the mid 50s, 55. So we're obviously running pretty warm. I've had multiple people look at it, and the word is it needs to be replaced. Again, due to age. The weather bug camera, just an update on it. We talked about it a little bit at the last month's meeting. They were looking at going at the courthouse. You know, they wanted to go all the way up on the top. They got up there, looked at it, figured out that wasn't going to be, they weren't going to be able to do that. So they were going to come down one story below, and PNC Bank is right in your way. They said, we'll do it, you know, but it's not ideal. And I said, well, why don't we come over here and look at, you know, 189 here, you know, because we got a great western view. There's nothing in the way. We can go up on top of the elevator shaft, and they loved it, you know. So that's kind of, I'm working with Kevin right now to figure out what we need to do to make it happen for him here. But that's going to happen. We just got some hoops we got to jump through before we're going to be able to get that one done.
Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any chance of that being done for when Music Fest happens over here? No?
No.
Come on.
No, there's we've got to, as Kevin explains it, it's actually this facility. There's additional security measures that got to take place. So it's going to take some time to get them a dedicated line up there, and it's got to go outside, and yeah, there's going to be some more work. So, as some of you may have seen, Acting Out Theater's been setting up. There's going to be some lot closures beginning July 19. That's the stage and everything that's been set up over here to the west. We've obviously communicated that with all the employees here at the building, and they're all aware as to what's going on. Over at the courthouse, some of you may notice last week the roof repair was going on with Langlois. We scheduled it specifically for that week during the shutdown. It went off without a hitch. Everything went very smooth. The roof is complete. They completed it in that time frame. Basically, they sent one gentleman back on Monday just to do some minor, completions, if you will, and it's done. So I'm happy to report that that went off without a hitch. At the courthouse, we've had some minor work orders, nothing crazy there, switching some phones with the retirement of Judge Leshin and Judge Gertz moving, and then Sandy Cianci had some issues there as well that we took care of with regard to phones. Directional ADA signage is all completed. We talked about that a little bit last week. We're waiting on some posts, got those, got them in. All the ADA signs, both inside and outside, are complete. As I continue to acclimate myself and walk around and look at things, one thing that I've noticed, and I believe Brian has brought this to the committee's attention as well, the south sidewalk around that building is absolutely awful. It's beat up. It has sank. There's a good 2 to 3, 4 inch in some places height difference between various sidewalks and curbs. I'm just going to put it out there, make you aware of it. It's something that I think we're going to need to, we're going to want to look at sooner rather than later.
Probably for winter.
Exactly. Any questions? I'm sorry? Where was that? It's going to be on the south side of the courthouse.
On the council,
The
okay.
sidewalk. I think
Courthouse.
Brian had, like, he'd mentioned he'd talked to you, and I walked it and looked at it, and it's, unfortunately, it's something that you're going to want to address.
Sidewalk, or is it the city sidewalk also?
Just the county sidewalk that goes kind of in a semicircle with the drive at the courthouse.
Mr. Kinzinger?
I haven't walked that sidewalk probably in 5 months, but is that the type of thing that's subject to concrete jacking, or is it gonna have to be removed and replaced?
I'm not sure. You might know better than I. There's a lot of it. I mean, it's basically the whole thing.
Every 4 feet there's, okay.
It's the whole thing.
Okay.
At the old jail, the elevator, we just touched on that's going to get started. That's going to be a major inconvenience because obviously, you know, with that elevator work going on, there's doors that are going to have to be opened. There's going to be issues there. They're going to have to be addressed, with correction staff. So I plan to meet with them, like I say, today. That's about a 10-day project. So hopefully we'll put our heads together today and figure out a game plan that'll work for everybody. The AC unit in master control, is shot. We've had multiple people come out and look at that. Master Control is a small area there in the building where they monitor obviously all the cameras and everything in the building. That's something that Brian had started before he'd left. I got a bid, one bid that I'm not completely happy with. I'm gonna get another one. It's a small 3-ton unit that services Master Control. That looks to be a sizable expense that might be coming up. So just wanted to keep everybody aware of that. The chiller went down Monday evening about 10 p.m. I was on site. My staff was on site. Turns out it was a bad transformer. Temperatures were going up pretty high in the building. We weren't able to get it addressed that evening with our subcontractor. It was actually fixed the next morning. Subcontractor was out, but one thing led to another. We weren't able to identify what the issue was. They came back out in the morning, got it up and running, but it did get pretty warm in there. So we were on site. We opened up dampers. We tried to make it as comfortable as possible, but happy to report that that is now fixed and the temperatures are down. Out at the annex, we've talked a little bit about the security station that's going to be happening. I met with Sheriff Downey last week. The security station is going to actually go on the, I guess you'll call it the lower level of the annex. We had looked at putting it up in the front right when you walk in, moving a door, doing some different things. Sheriff Downey likes it. I like it. It's going to go down below. We're going to install a swipe when you walk into the left right there. We're going to shut that door down, have a swipe right there. Then everybody's going to go down below to the security station. So that works a lot better. They can see the back door, whereas opposed to if they were coming up front, they would have to walk down the stairs and look back there. So that's in the works. I've got some vending machines that need to be moved. Got some repairs that need to be made, but that looks like we should come in under budget on that one. So with the changes that have been made. Out at Jerome Combs, condenser units, cleaning the cottonwood out there. It's just constant. They've been cleaned 3 times this season, and it's not enough. We probably should have cleaned them 4 or 5 times. It's just we can't keep up with it.
We cleaned ours 3 times in 3 weeks at the college.
Yeah,
it's really bad this year. Really bad.
From what I'm told, this has been an extraordinary year for the cottonwood. We have a Generac generator. It's going to be on the southeast side of Jerome Combs. The radiator is cracked on it. I've talked to multiple subcontractors. I've got multiple quotes coming. It's looking like it's going to be anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to replace this radiator. I asked what causes a radiator to crack, and the answer I got was Generac has had a lot of issues with their radiators. They said the particular gentleman I was speaking to said, in his opinion, those radiators should be bolted, not soldered. This one's soldered. He also said it's about 12 years old. He said, so it's, all those factors, he said he's not surprised to see that the radiator is now cracked.
Mr. Olton.
Thank you, Chairman. What are we replacing it with?
I've got a couple quotes and a couple options coming, everything from a rebuilt radiator, a brand new radiator from Generac. So my recommendation is going to be to replace it with a brand new radiator from the manufacturer, as it is a critical component
of the
them
now?
Facility. That's a good question. I'll have to see what Generac is coming out with on their new radiators. Yeah, good point.
Maybe a 20-year warranty on it?
Yeah, good point. Thank you.
Like your tractors.
Moored cooler, we talked about that. That was addressed. We talked about it in the financial side of the report. A couple weeks ago, Condisco capacitors was out. The capacitors serve the phase 1 generator that's out there at Jerome Combs. The capacitors were getting up there in age. Condisco recommended replacement. That was something that Brian had coordinated before he'd left. Capacitors obviously are an important part of the generator system out there at Jerome Combs, and that's been completed as well. We talked a little bit about staffing at last month's meeting, and I just kind of wanted to give you a snapshot as to one of our employees' weeks out at Jerome Combs. He's our lead guy out there. He pretty much, you know, takes care of anything that needs to be done out there, of from, you know, repairs to after hours call-ins, etc. June 23rd, he was called in from 9 to 11 in the evening to reset phones. June 24th, he was called in on Sunday for the capacitor work, which we discussed. That was 5:30 to 12:30. Monday, he was called in June 25th from 6 to 8 for a fire alarm. June 27th, on Wednesday, he was called in from 8 to 10 for a water backup. And then on Thursday, June 28th, he was called in again from 5 to 7 for an air conditioner issue in KA dorm. So, you know, that's June 23rd, 24th, 25th, 27th, 28th, you know, for after hour call-in type work that needed to be addressed. I'm working with my staff right now to try to identify another individual that wants to step up and assist with, you know, both, getting to this gentleman's level of knowledge of the building and being able to assist us, you know, with after hours call-in type stuff, because it happens out of 7 days in a week. 4 to 5 of them, you know, we're getting called out there, you know, to respond to various things. So,
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had some thoughts along this way, and I want to bounce those off you, not to put you on the spot. But as we get towards the budget time, and we look to, you know, at the end of this budget year, we're looking at still being in the hole roughly about $975,000 roughly, which is a lot different than the 4.6 million we started with about a year ago, so year and a half ago. It's a lot brighter picture, but we're still not out of the hole. There's starting to see requests for hiring come in, and my recommendation to the finance committee is to build some of these requests into the budget for next year. Okay, because we still are borrowing to pay for what we have right now, but we will have black dollars, if you will, not going into the red, roughly March, April of next year. So if I would say, I can't speak for the whole committee, but I would recommend that we add someone to your staff for next year as we look at what we're going to do potentially for the sheriff's department for next year, and when that timing hits. Because again, you can't spend it until you have it, but the minute we have it is when I will say, I know what you're talking about, and it's a real problem. And maybe this person can come in and stagger them at 2 in the afternoon, and they work until 10 at night or whatever. You know, because then there's not somebody coming in every night. You have that covered as part of the like a second shift, if you will,
right,
for that facility. But we can talk about that together. But I just wanted to let you know and the committee know, I absolutely believe that. But when we put that in your budget, then I am sure we need to put a couple of people in the circuit clerk's office as well, because they're running way shorthanded over there. So it's a cascade, people. I just want to tell you, it's not just here, there. It's all connected, because we would have to shore up. We've been running so lean for so long. So we can't spend it until we got it. And I would just say, you have my commitment to get that right, because I know what it costs, both in man hours, costs, PM that we're not doing, then also just people have to have a life outside of this place, you know?
Right.
So.
No, I think we can continue to manage it. It's just not something that, you know, I don't think we want to keep doing it for too long.
Nope.
So,
I agree. Anything else?
nope, that's it.
Any questions for Wes? Any questions at all? Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you. And you know, Wes, I have one question about ADA while you're up there. I'm going to put you on the spot again. Just to let the committee know that I submitted everything we've done. You know, the pictures of the signage and the posts and the parking spaces. You guys tied all that up, as you just mentioned. Got me all the documentation. It was a lot of work by a lot of different people. But mainly now Wes is obviously taking over that ADA responsibility. We're into the next phase, which is the plan on what we're going to do for the ramp in the courtroom. Okay, that's a big part of this. And it looks like we'll probably have funds to do that. If not, I don't think it'll be at the end of this year, but we'll have the plan and the drawings, and that's what Wes is working on, and getting other options beyond a ramp, you know, that looks, I hate to say it, awful for the amount of money we could spend on it, whether we are able to do a slope trench, if you will, from towards one of the corners or something to get into the building that way for an ADA entrance downstairs. That may blend in with the architecture a little better now that we're not having to spend the absolute least amount we can to do it. Also, what a ADA courtroom would look like. So I don't know if there's an update, if we've heard anything, or we can You know, again, not to put you on the
No,
spot,
that's
but
fine.
we don't need it immediately, but by September, we have to be able to submit something. But I can tell you that what we have submitted to the Attorney General, which addresses 90% of everything else, but these are the last two items. So we don't have their approval yet, but it's a new person with the AG's office. I have been communicating with her. We'll see where, and apparently what we were told before is if these are good solutions for everything up to the ramp and the courtroom, then really that mitigates, again, 90% of what our problems are. But the last two are the ones that are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so this won't be cheap, but hopefully we'll be able to pay our vendors, so to speak, when that time comes. So no updates.
No, I spoke with Doug Bright probably 3 weeks ago, and all of our effort and energy was concentrated on the courthouse roof project. So with that being done now, you know, obviously now we have this roof that I need to get. I suppose I should have put that in my report. So thanks for bringing that up. We've got to get the roof done here now as well. The roof that's going to be on the lower portion of the roof over here on the west side. So I'm working with Langlois right now to get that scheduled. There's going to be some issues with, you know, staging their equipment on this road out front. We got to get some permits and things of that nature. But I will get with Doug. Last I spoke with him, he was going to mock up some different things for the front of it and then look into, like we discussed. The ADA entrance right now is on the south west corner of the building. He thought, you know, maybe one of the better options might be to regrade that. It's already there, you know, take the concrete that's out, regrade it to the proper, I'm not sure what the proper pitch has to be, but he thought that might be the best, and I think that's what Andy was referring to. So I'll get on that here, you know, probably next week.
Sure. Thank you. I didn't expect to have an update. I just want to make sure that the committee knew that we're into an area that we haven't been before, where we're almost to the point of doing the real work that has to be done. And then hopefully continue to look at all of our buildings and the ADA issues that we have within all of those as we go forward. The last thing, and this isn't on the agenda, but I wanted to get your opinion. When we schedule the approved, you know, this committee approved the move of the auditor's office down to where you're at and you up to the auditor's office. If we were scheduling that, what would be the best time to do that? Is it like a Friday for your crews or things like that? Where I'm to the point now where we're going to start talking about scheduling. For this committee's sake, what days of the week are the best?
I mean, we really don't have, I mean, we deal with work orders as they pop up, you know, so, you know, we mow on, I believe we mow on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but depending on time off. So I would say either a Monday or a Thursday or a Friday, you know, so I would say stay away from the middle of the week, but either, like I say, and Mondays can be tough too because of the work orders that come in over the weekend. So Thursday or Friday.
Right.
would
Okay.
be best.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Wheeler?
Oh, that's all I had, unless there's.
Okay. Any old business? Any old business? Any new business, Mr. Wheeler?
I have some new business. I received I was yesterday morning, I have to send out the notifications, but Jim Scott has resigned from the county board, effective immediately. So this is the official announcement for that. And it looks like we'll be appointing a replacement at the full board meeting coming up here. Somebody who is, you know, interested in the spot, obviously. So we'll talk more about that when the time comes, but I just have to verify the time frames. I always like to check the statutes because those are important. You've heard how important statutes are. So beyond that, if there's any questions, but yeah, Jim decided, you know, that it was best that he move on because while he was in the kitchen cabinet and part of, you know, you all know him. He's a smart guy and he had a lot of good ideas and things. He just couldn't be here with his family commitments and he works out of town. So he'll be missed as far as like the idea team, if you will, but he just couldn't, he's been missed. He couldn't even be at the meeting. So beyond that.
Mr. Vickery?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We get to talking about the budget process. At our next finance meeting, could we have Mike Lynch in?
We were talking about actually the timing on that because we're really close to having a renewal. So we were going to bring him in to talk about our experience and with the renewal number. And it's like any day now. When he gets it, he's going to call me and tell me.
Okay,
So it wouldn't make sense to have them 2 months in a row,
okay,
but we're gonna go through all of that.
okay.
So we have been talking.
Okay, because that's the important part of it, in our new budget process is the health insurance costs. I mean, it's gonna be a major, I mean, it is could make a major impact on the budget.
It always does. And so you know, that's, I know it's a finance committee discussion, but know that our experience, looks really, really, really good. And then all of a sudden, bam, you know, body blow, you know, like the old Tyson game, you know, on video games. But it was going really good. And then we have a bad month, you know. You didn't play video games? I'm an 80s child, I apologize.
Okay.
Pong. But no, and then all of a sudden you get hit really bad and then it doesn't look any good anymore. So we're stretching that out a little bit. It's not building in grounds, but he asked the question. So.
Adding people and, you know, that's gonna add to the issue, okay?
Mr. Legess?
Yeah, this is no big deal, but I was wondering, on the financial report, can we just eliminate treasurer, VAC, and state's attorney out there? Wouldn't they fall under the administration building, since they're all in this building now? Or is that just the way the software is? You see what I'm saying?
Let me take a look here, I'm sorry.
The last three are all in this building now. They used to have be in separate buildings. So wouldn't they just all three fall under administration building? Treasurer.
Potentially, I mean, we could, you might want to know by floor, but, and then,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he mentioned, the recorder.
yeah, we'll talk
But
about it.
she's not on there, you know?
Yeah.
I just wondered why we
Put it
couldn't.
under 189 instead of admin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Bill Altoff won't be confused that way.
I didn't turn his mic
We
on.
haven't done other business.
We got one more to go yet. Any other business? Any other business for the good of the? Okay. Ready? Adjournment. Mr. Legess.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Mr. McKay. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you. McKay.